Hello and welcome to the UCM podcast. I'm your host for today, Tony Hook, and joining me is a champion of champions, Dr. Ben Kuhn. Ben, what's going on, man?
Doing great, Tony. It's good to see you again.
Likewise. I think we've never done this before, right?
I don't think so. The
Not
last
between
time
you
I
and
did
me.
one of these, Bill was hosting.
Right. This is way overdue.
Yeah.
You're one of the first people I met at a NUCA conference, and so that was 10 years ago, man. Yeah, it's been a while. We're getting old. We're getting gray in our beards.
I'm growing mine out.
That's it. That's it. Well, hey, welcome to the podcast. Glad you're here. We've got students and doctors alike that watch this thing. And so some of them may not know who you are. Anyone who does know who you are, you're very memorable. So they can't forget. But for those that don't know you, just explain just kind of who you are, where you're practicing, those kinds of things.
Sure thing. Back to Dr. Benjamin Kuhn, practicing in Edmonton, Alberta. I've been doing NUCA since I started in 2006. It was when I graduated from Palmer College, the Davenport version. And I took over a practice there, have been trying to grow it and build out systems and get things going to where it's an actual business that runs ever since. And the only other thing, well, not the only other thing, I've done a lot of other things. Sat on a few boards over the years. Currently, I'm only on one. Member of the Upper Cervical Council for the ICA. So as a director there for the last few years, have been on NUCA boards, UCRF, which is the Upper Cervical Research Foundation, and then developed software for analyzing digital x-rays as well, because there wasn't tools that I liked out at the time. So yeah, just a few things we've done over the last 20 years or so.
That's right. That's right. And now you purchased the practice.
I did, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I did that because, I came in as an associate first because I wanted to learn how to do so many of the business things. Like, I've run a business in the past, but there's always ins and outs and ups and downs and things you have to learn. And I didn't want to have to learn those on my dime. I figured I would try and learn them on somebody else's dime while I got paid for it. So that worked out well. I knew going into school and coming out that I was going to buy the practice from him, because I just didn't want to build something from scratch. I knew that wasn't where my biggest strengths lived. I knew I was better at systems and refining and finding the pieces to go together versus trying to get there from scratch. So that was why I purchased the practice. And yeah, I've been nudging the edges and trying to build it out ever since.
Right. And just over the time I've known you, there's been some ups and downs, right? I mean, obviously COVID was a big factor, and just kind of changed things, especially up there in Canada, and so all those fun restrictions and whatnot. So, is it right to say that it's kind of recently, not that there's only things that you've done now, and we'll unpack what that looks like, but was it accurate to say that it's only recently that you've kind of found yourself like, where you're going, you know what, I'm ready to stink and scale this sucker?
Kind of. I think it's gotten to the point where I've got all the other pieces in place that I feel like it can scale without everything breaking that are harder pieces to fix.
Right.
And so from a business standpoint, I did things totally backwards and would not suggest people do it that way. Generally, you should get good at the marketing and get people through the door first, so that then you can get busy, find the other things that break, and then fix those. I am weird and dumb in that way. And that I wanted to get all the pieces in place first, so I knew things could be good to scale. So financially, it's not the best way to do it, and you probably shouldn't. If I'm giving advice to up and coming doctors, don't do it the way I did. Break it other ways first. But yeah, anytime you grow, things break. And my biggest goal has been trying to I wanted to get good at what I did to start with. And that was the first thing I put into place. And the first system I worked on is like my first 5 years, and getting that figured out and dialed in. Then I wanted to be able to teach it. And so I spent several years working out the details of like, okay, what do I do that I just assume people should know that they don't necessarily know, and that then I can impart on others. Then I brought on associates and thought, okay, that's going to help grow the business because they're going to do some of the things I did, and it's going to have capacity, and we're going to grow. And a lot of it didn't grow. And so I was like, okay, now I have to figure out the growth systems. And that's been a lot of what I've been working on. And then also just managing people and the number of employees and people you're managing through all those stages. Like you go from yourself to having a CA to managing multiple CAs to bringing on associates and figuring out what that looks like and how that works and what those contracts will be, what's comfortable for you, what's comfortable for them. So it's just been a iterative process of finding the next hurdle and then getting that going. And I've always wanted to get to the point where I own an actual business. And I know for most people that sounds funny, but I know most chiropractors, we don't own businesses. We own well-paying jobs with support staff.
Yes, there we go. Right.
And like the key I would differentiate there is like, could it run without you there? And that's been the main thing I've been trying to get to, so that it's an actual business. It's an actual system that I can plug people into and have opportunities for upcoming doctors to be able to get in and get a good paying job, not have to worry about all this stuff I've tried to do, but also then be able to grow and expand it and get it really big.
Right. And one of the things you said was, when things, not making sure that things won't break, because as you grow, all those systems get tested. Right.
Yes.
And so, and what you need when you're collecting, 10, 15K a month is not what you need in play at 30 or 40 or 50 or 80, and so there's different needs in those systems that, hey, it worked at this stage, but it is insufficient at this stage. Is that what you have seen over the years?
Yeah.
Or at least it needs to modify. It needs to.
There's definitely different tools and different elements you need in place at any of those. The biggest thing I've run into has been like, and you can't not break things. If you're going to grow, you're going to come across problems you don't know are there until you run into them and go, oh crap, now I have to solve this. And that's going to happen. Like if you run a business and you were an entrepreneur or do this kind of thing and want to grow, that's a reality. You should get used to it. It's going to happen. I've always tried to predict as best I can what's going to happen. I've gotten relatively good at that, but there's always stuff that's going to come up and surprise you and be things you didn't expect or problems you didn't think were going to occur or that you thought you had solved but don't have solved for this volume of what you're dealing with. My biggest motivation through most of it has been my capacity, because I like to say yes to things. I like to go. I like to do. I like to be involved in all the things. And we all have a limited capacity.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the systems and a lot of the things I've been trying to build have been like, okay, where can I get back some of my attention, some of my time, some of my focus, so that I can put more into the next thing that is likely to grow or advance me professionally or personally or advance the business.
Right. Because it's back to what you said, like making sure that you're trying to go from a well-paid well-paid person to a business owner, And so that's part of it. So like that's the business owner that you're saying. Those are all business owner mindsets and words that you're sharing. It's like, I need time. I need to be able to focus on what only I can do. I need to give direction and leadership to my team. Those are all things like that. So let's unpack some of that stuff here. Some of these key pieces. Okay. As we're going to unpack like key pieces that you've seen, you have to have to at least be prepared to scale, if not starting to scale. So walk me through something, like mindset. What about your mindset has to be there?
I mean, you need a vision of where you want to go. Otherwise, like, you have no idea what to do next. Mm-hmm. And so that's important. Sit and be real with yourself and realize and try and either realize or talk to the people who have done it already, what the downsides are of any stage you want to be at too, because everybody looks at the green grass on the other side of the fence and doesn't realize that it still grows in shit.
Yeah, that's it.
And so there's crap everywhere. there's problems at every level with every stage, everything you do. Like there are advantages that I would have if I was just a single practitioner running a solo office with nobody else there, because I'd have the freedom and capacity to do other things in my free time. But it doesn't align with the vision I want of, like, my big purpose has always been like, I want to grow upper cervical. I want to grow the chiropractic profession. I think the best way to do that is by building things that people can look at and go, that's what I want.
Yeah.
I want to get there. I want to be there. And like, if I can do that in an upper cervical setting, then students are going to come up going like, holy crap, I want what that guy has. And if schools aren't teaching it, schools are going to start teaching it because the demand is there. So much of what I've seen organizationally and everything else over the years has been like trying to force the demand, or force, like, let's make it available. Let's make sure it's there. And if people find out, they'll just come. And that's, I mean, you can get to a level that way, but then you stagnate. And that was how I ran the business for the first several years while I was figuring my own stuff out. It was like, if I just do a good enough job, the word will get out, more people will show up, things will happen. And if you go back enough decades, yeah, that was how it worked, because that's how the word got around. People talked and they would be like, oh, this, and like being your local Google was something people got pride in and did. Now everybody has Google in their pocket. And so there's a lot less personal pride that people would come to from being, you know, their local guide and being, oh, I know the good doctor, and I know the good newspaper, and I know the best coffee shop. Like now it's Yelp and Google and reviews. And so a lot of that's moved to online. And so I don't think you can grow the same way you did through the 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
Which was kind of what I had seen and lived through before getting into chiropractic practice, and then thought, oh, I'll just do that and it will grow and things will be good. And I won't have to do a whole bunch of marketing and other stuff. Like, I'll just be awesome and people will show up.
Right.
And that happens to a degree, but it's not as predictable as I would like. You definitely have hot days and low times. Like I had months where I was doing 3 times what I did on my lowest month of the year. But then, so the lowest month of the year was half of what I needed to pay my bills. And that's not a very comfortable place to be for a practice or a person.
Yeah. So and not every doctor's the same as far as like, you know, charisma level, right? So a lot of the high charisma docs, you know, they can build a strong referral practice. Not to say they don't happen, but the percentage of people that can, especially as you just said, in this day and age, it's very low percentage. It may, you know, it was a higher percentage, you know, a few decades ago. Like you just said, that's a great observation that you have there. Yeah, I remember I was at a conference and I was getting ready to go up and speak at that point, all we did was marketing. Now obviously it's more than marketing, but and so I'm getting ready to share like who we are. And the guy right before me, it was one of the teachers. I'm not going to name names or say the conference. So there, I'm not going to do it. And he says, hey, you know, all you got to do, you just need to do a good adjustment, take care of people, and they'll come in. They're going to refer. You don't need to do marketing. You don't need to do ads. You don't need to do any of these other things. You don't need to do videos. And I'm like, thanks. That's like, there's a reason we exist. You know?
I was at that conference, I think, or at least I've been at a conference where that exact thing has happened.
I'm like, the ones that know about you, yeah, they'll come in, but not the ones that don't know about you.
Yeah.
Anyway, you don't.
Well, that was one of the elements. Yeah, that was one of the reasons I actually wanted to do a lot more marketing in that, and have used you guys. Oh, my camera quit.
That's all right. I can still hear you.
Okay.
There you go.
Apparently it came back. Interesting. So sorry. Yeah, one of the reasons I wanted to build a lot more marketing was because like from an ethical standpoint, I knew there were a ton of people within 5 miles of my practice who desperately needed me, who didn't know about me. Like I've had a great referral practice forever. And our average patient, to give you an idea, drives an hour each way to come see us. 60% of my practice comes from more than an hour away.
Yeah.
They're driving 6, 5, 12 hours one way to come see us because we're in the north and there's like really literally nobody else between them and us who does anything even close to what we do. And so that's a little feather in your cap. And you're like, yeah, I got people who travel. I get people who fly in and all this stuff. And yeah, it feels good to say that. And it's nice to know that you're known outside of your local area. But
What
also I
about
can walk down the street and ask 100 people, and maybe one of them would know about us.
right?
And I'd say that's probably only about 30% chance that one of them would know about us.
Yeah.
So I wanted to build that.
You consider that like an ethical issue, because like you're saying you owe it to your community to bring that kind of care so that they know that they can get help.
I want them to know it exists.
Yeah.
Like I talked to the biggest complaint I get from new patients that come in is like, I didn't even know you were here. I didn't know this existed. Like, how come nobody told me about this?
Yeah.
And so a big part of what I've been trying to do is like, how can I shorten that and get fewer of those people to where they know, and they're just like, I've known about you for years. I've known I needed to do it. Yeah. I just finally reached the point where I was like, screw it. I'm going to pull the trigger and go. Right. And that's like, you're going to get those too. Not everybody's going to come in as soon as they know about you. But if they don't know about you, they can't make that choice. And that's the same, like even when I've built in systems for internal referrals and that, when I tell patients, I'm like, your job isn't to tell people, convince people to come in. Your job is to make sure that the people you care about know that this is an option.
Right.
Let them know that this is here, that it exists, that it's something you could do. Yep. They're going to decide whether or not they do it or not. Like some of my best friends never came in for care. And there were people I knew I could help who suffered from issues like migraines that were ongoing and consistent. And he got them every week. He's the godson of one of my kids, but has never come in for care. Wasn't interested. And I was like, fine.
But he knows.
Yeah. But as long as you know it exists, then I don't feel any responsibility.
Yeah, that's on you. Right. That's a good point.
When I've got something I know that's true and I know it's valuable to people, I want to get that word out. And that's really what I try to do with the marketing. I'm not trying to convince anybody to come in. I'm trying to give them the information that I know that I believe can help them.
Right. Look, just circling back, let's go. We're talking about the key pieces to have in play as for a practice so that you can scale. You can be scaling and that it's going to continue on in that trajectory. You're not going to hit these roadblocks. So you shared mindset. You talked about making sure that you have solid vision, that making sure that you have a mission focus. And that's kind of how we got onto the marketing stuff and the referral stuff, because it's like, if your mission is to help sick and suffering people find hope and healing, then we should be telling everybody, and equipping our patients then to go and tell everybody, and our team to be telling everybody, etc. So there's some of that mindset. But speaking of team, where does the role of a team in regards to scaling? I saw you've gone through some transitions with teams. So talk to us about that.
For sure. I think the team really comes in when you need more bandwidth, when you need more time. Like you'll reach a point at any point, like where you've just, like I said, it comes to capacity, and everybody's capacity in different ways is different. I wanted to get, like I said, good at taking care of people. And so wasn't really focused on building out the things. I wanted to get technically excellent first. And then once I got technically excellent and figured, okay, now I've learned how to train it, I wanted to bring people in so that the capacity could grow, so that more people could get taken care of. Because there was months I was running my butt off and had no time to do anything else. Like I couldn't put the time into learning how to market or do any of this stuff, or even go out and meet other doctors or get the word out, because I was just like, I was tapped. I was done. I didn't have capacity left to do it. And I was like, I need associates. I need people who can work with me, who can produce the same level of care, and I can train them to do that can then go. And then once you get to that point, you start spending more time managing them, training them. That eats up some of your time. And so it's always a trade-off. And what you're really trying to do, Alex Hormozi talks about this a ton, but you're really trying to find the current bottleneck you've got and then solve that problem. And that's really all it ever is. As long as you have something you're aiming at, which is where the vision, goal, mission comes from. Like, as long as you know what you want to go for, you go as hard as you can towards that. And when something starts dragging you back and feeling like this is a problem that just keeps me from getting there, that's then the next problem you have to solve. And they're all kind of the same, but they're going to hit at different times for different people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the marketing one was the one I've hit closer to what I think is the end, at least the end of the current stages I can see for growth. Because as soon as I start getting busier, there's going to be another one. And then I'll have to figure out what that is and whether it's a person that goes in place to solve that, whether it's a systematized thing that I can build out where then a person doesn't have to do it and it just works so the people who are in place can do it because the systems increased their capacity. That's been a big reason I've built so many systems around my practice, is because thinking is hard. It takes a lot of work. It burns a lot of energy. There's only so much really good, creative, problem-solving thinking you can do in a day. In my mind, at least, or in my experience, maybe some other people have more capacity than I do.
and it's frustrating. It can be frustrating. It can be discouraging. And it's like, and some people are like, I just don't want to push through this. It's not worth it. Or, and it takes away from other areas of life too, because you also are human beings.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, it's going to be frustrating. Like, you don't know what you don't know. And when you run into a problem you can't solve, it's because you don't know how to solve it.
Right.
And then you can talk to people who have solved it and try and get their input. And then the hard thing there is trusting what their input is, because they're going to say things that don't necessarily make sense to you all the time, because they've been there, they've seen that, and they know the bits that get through it if they're good at teaching it, which is a big if. Some people are great at doing, but have no idea really how they got there. They just kind of stumble through and are successful.
Yeah. Yep. So we got mindset. You need to have the right team. You mentioned associates, but of course, CAs, front desk. I mean, you got to have the right ratio. And like you said, you look for bottlenecks. When there starts to be a bottleneck and a frustration, okay, that lets us know, hey, if you want to grow, you want to keep scaling, then there's got to be a solution for this little cog right here. This thing that was there, it's not working. And we need to either swap it or tweak it.
Exactly. And it's just finding those spots, and then being able to identify those is probably one of the biggest skills you can develop. And it's not always obvious. Like, you can be, I'm not busy enough. And I need more new patients. But if you're getting new patients in and you're not converting them, then that's the bigger problem. Or if you get them in and you're converting them, but then they fall off within a couple of weeks because you're not presenting like an appropriate value proposition, you're not giving them a good reason for the level of care you think they need ongoing, then that's really the problem that needs to be solved. And you may be getting enough new patients through the door to get to where you want to go, but not being able to hold them or keep them. And so getting to that point is really, it gets into diving into the data and knowing what your practice is, what the numbers are, how long people stay, how often you see them in a year once you get them in, what your conversion rates are from people coming through the door to when they decide to become a patient, whether, and getting an idea too, like, you're not going to get 100%. Like, no, even if you do things for free, you're not going to get every person who comes through the door going like, yep, you're awesome, let's do this. Some of them are just going to think you're a weirdo and not want to do it.
Right.
And I've had people who've done that. So it's just it's my biggest thing I've learned in the last while, which isn't necessarily the first thing you should learn, but is an element that you learn all the way through, is like, what are appropriate numbers to hit for each of those elements. Like, you're not going to convert 100%. If you convert 90%, that's great, but it probably means you're way underpriced for what you should be to be able to actually get to the volume you want to be at. Or maybe you're at the volume you want to, like, it's all balancing the equations. And so I don't know that there's any perfect, like, oh, well, here. Like, I know where to be for where I want to go and what I want to do. But some people get at that. Go ahead.
But you would have to, then you would agree with this, though. You must track your stats.
You have to.
Otherwise, you're shooting in the dark.
Unless you're just like, if somebody's perfectly happy with where they are, they're probably not watching this podcast. So we're not talking to you.
I'm talking about that.
Because if you're perfectly happy where you are and everything's been consistent and the same, and if you have little ups and downs, you're like, it's no big deal, I'm good. Then you're good. Everything's working the way you want it to be. Like, you're done. You don't have to mess with that. However, if you have somewhere you want to go that isn't where you're at, you have to track the numbers.
Yeah.
And then figure out the numbers that matter towards the goal you're wanting to aim at.
Okay. Yeah.
And so if you want to take care of tons of people, like you need more people through the door. If you need more people through the door, you've got to be able to get the word out in front of them. And if you need to be able to get the word out in front of them, you either have to have the time to be able to go out and knock on doors or, shake hands and kiss babies and do it that way, or you need to have the time to be able to go and talk to other health professionals and get them educated on what you do so that they send you people, or you need to be able to have the money that the patients are worth to be able to pay to advertise to them in ways that will work to get them knowledgeable about you and get them through the door. And all of those are different problems you're going to hit that you're going to bang up against depending on where the biggest bottleneck is and what you're aiming for, which way you want to do it. Like if you need more time, you either need to be comfortable with making less money and taking more time out of the practice to go do that side in the short term to do it. But then if you only do it in the short term, it ends up with a bump and then it goes back down. And like you need something that's consistent and reliable. And so it becomes a balancing act of like, okay, how much money do you need to make? How much money does the clinic need to make? How many hours do you want to be open? How many hours do you need to be open? How many hours can you dedicate to other things? How much money can you dedicate? Like it's figuring out where those bottlenecks happen. And that's why I said, like, it's always about where you want to go and then where the biggest resistance is to you getting there and drilling down on that particular problem to be like, okay, how do I solve that problem? And do I have the time or the resources? Like, well, time is a resource. Do you have the resources to take care of it? Either financial, bandwidth, time, people to do that. And that's really just find the problem and then figure out how to solve it.
So from a tracking stat standpoint, you can almost work backwards then. So you're starting off with like, okay, hey, I'm at 50,000 collections right now. I want to hit 75. Okay, well, how many care plans do I need to start? How many patient visits do I need? Right, something like that. You start there. Okay, to equal that. All right, good. To get that many care plans started, or that many visits, how many day twos do I have to complete? And then to get that many day twos, how many day ones do I need to complete? And then to get that, how many consultations do I need to do? And how many, or if I'm doing marketing, how many leads do I need to get that many consults, to get that many day ones, to get that many day twos, to get that many starts, right? But if you're not tracking any of that stuff, then it's not, that has to happen. And then like you mentioned conversions. And so like, where are conversions on each of those? And then, wow, we suck going from day one to day two. We got to work on our day ones. We got to solve that system. Right. That's what I'm hearing.
Exactly.
You say. Or, wow, I'm getting 30 new patients a month, but I'm not gaining anything. Well, then your retention, I guarantee, is not good. And you should be tracking that. Your retention sucks. So it's either a patient education system or it's, the front end expectations. There's no commitment for a care plan or whatever those things are. Right. And so those are all huge factors that you've started to implement as well.
Absolutely. Yep. And it's all that you nailed it on the head. Or if you want to go from 50 to 75, do you just increase your prices by 50%? That's assuming and that's assuming you could do that and all your conversions, everything else stays the same. Yeah. Like then, hey, you went from 50 to 75, you're done and you haven't done any more work. Hooray. But it does it match with all your other goals? Did you just want to go from 50 to 75? If you just want to do that, that's the quickest and easiest way to do it, assuming you can still maintain a relatively solid conversion. Yeah. Or you double it and you lose 50% of your conversions, but you've worked out to where it works out that way.
Yeah.
Most of us that I know in this work also want to serve more people, want to take care of more people. Like that's why you get into the work, is to help people. Right. And so there's that. Yeah. So then there's that element as well. It's like, okay, I could let's say I charge $100,000 per person to have them take care of. And then I'm just living life. I'm happy. I take care of 10 people a year and have $1 million a year practice and I'm set. It's like, okay, great. But are you happy taking care of 10 people a year?
But what are you doing? Yeah. What are we doing here? What's really going on? If you can change people's lives and families' lives, then why aren't you? Right. That's back to mission.
Yeah.
So mindset, your team, tracking stats. You mentioned referral system as well. We've touched on that a little bit. We've talked about the new patient flow, right? Retention, education. These are a lot of different things. So having those in play is huge. But now, what about an aspect for talking about scaling? Okay, so what one of the things that you were kind of mentioning, you were saying I'm almost ready to 5x this.
Yeah.
Right. So like next level stuff. So like once let's say there's somebody watching this and there's places to start. Everybody, okay, I'm tracking my stats. I know what those percentages are. I know what our retention percent. I know our PVA and OVA, right? I know and CVA. Like I know all these. Yes, we've got a great team. They're firing. We're going the right direction. I think like, is there a turbo button? You know, like I think let's mash this thing and see what happens. Like, let's see what breaks. But like, hopefully everything's planned right. But like, what are we talking about here?
Oh yeah. Like when I had mentioned to you or texted you there about taking it to 5X, like that's where I see my current capacity at, given the staff and the systems and everything else I have in place, is about 5 times what we're currently doing in volume. And so we're doing decently right now. We're not at the rate I want to be at yet. We're at like $50,000-$60,000 a month conversion, but that's growing currently, or collections. That's right. However, I know with the capacity we've got and the care plans we've got and the conversion, like when I've crunched all the numbers and gone, okay, if I could fill the schedule, if I could get enough new patients in to get everybody to where they're basically at their capacity, at 80% of their capacity, we'd be 5X where we are currently. And so it's a matter of like, okay, now how do I do that? Can I afford to do that? Are the patients worth enough to where we're doing that? Do I need to tweak anything to make that happen? Right. And so that's been the element we've been doing, where it's essentially figuring out my brain just hiccuped again. Happens to the best of us and me.
Well, yeah, there you go. And I hope that we can team up with that too, just to be direct,
Yeah. And I think that's been the case, and that's what I've really been doing with you guys and been going on. And like, we'll be switching up to the elite system here right away, where we're just going to hit the gas and start spending way more on ads, because I think that for where I'm at, and the thing, like I've tried the referrals and I've done the professional referrals, and like I've got all those systems in place. I've done all of those, and we get patients from all of them. But to me, the biggest bucket that can get thrown on to make things go is in the marketing, where you can just, if patients are worth enough that you can spend enough money to get them that it's still worthwhile, then you can just throw money at that and just pour people through the door. And that's kind of the point where I'm at. I'm like, I think everything else is in a good enough place that I can't see where the next thing will break. So I want to just hit the gas on this problem, because I'm like, now this is the one.
Let's go.
And when I hit the gas on that and we break it, okay, now what's the next one?
That's right.
Which you're at a higher level, and then you can see, like, you climb to a higher point and you can see further. You can see more of the map and determine where what the next turn needs to be and where the next problem is to fix.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons that we designed the Atlas Engine Elite, is so that when people are when those clients have these things in place, and it's like, okay, like we're rolling, like let's do
how
this.
Big you want to go?
Let's go.
How hard do you want to turn that dial? How much gas do we put in the engine? Hit the turbo.
Exactly. We've designed that for that reason. That's like the turbo button, the 5X button, so I'm looking forward to having you mash that button.
I'm looking forward to it too.
Helping more people, man. Woo!
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, let's close. Let's bring this to a close here. We've covered a ton of stuff, making sure your mindset is good, your team's good, you're tracking your stats, you've got a new patient system, education system, referrals, retention, all these different things. They have to be in play. They've been tested. They've shown that they're true, that they're proven. Anything for those that are just starting off, they're like, where do I start? That's so many things. Where do I start with all this? Maybe they're a student watching this. Where do they start?
I think the first and best thing you can start with is in talking to people. And either that can be people that you get through the door, like you can come in as an associate and get patients in that you can then talk to. Like, you need enough confidence in what you're saying and what you're able to do to get to the point where you can convey that confidence to someone else. If you're not confident, you can, like, I can give you the script I say to patients when I talk to them, and you can take that and you can run with it, and you're not going to get the same kind of conversions or people who are like, yeah, let's go from that as I do. And I mean, to give you, like, we go from a $97 consult, we keep the cost really low, but we spend an hour and a half with the patients when we do that. However, then we convert them to a $2,500 initial care plan over 8 weeks.
Right.
So it's a big jump, and we've got like a 60% conversion on that. So it's a good consult. However, right, if you don't have if you haven't done it, if you don't own the confidence of what you're doing, like, first doctors, when they come in, they're getting 20 or 30% conversions.
Right.
And so I don't want to give them patients I've spent a lot of money to get, because I'm going to lose money on that. And so that's, again, it comes down to figuring those things out. And there's always elements like, always work on making things better, but don't get paralyzed by needing it to be perfect, because it won't be. And even if it's perfect now, it's not going to be perfect for the next stage that you want to get to.
Get used to
working. Have to get comfortable with good enough to move forward.
Yeah.
And for me, that was a really hard one, because I am a perfectionist. I'm a details guy. I'm like, I want to solve the problem. I love math, because I'm like, if I do all the things right, it comes out perfect. It's great. I love it. Yay. But life and business and practice and patience don't.
It's too dynamic. It's too dynamic. Yeah. That's good.
And so get good with good enough, and just keep working on the thing you notice that's not good enough.
Right.
And get it better. And then you might end up going back to something that was good enough before to go, well, that's not good enough now, and I need to get it better. And just fine tuning that. But I think the best thing for like a brand new student to start with and get going at is talk to people. Talk to everyone you can get your hands on. Talk to people at the bus stop. Talk to your friends. Talk to your family. Talk to the next person beside you on the plane when you're going for a trip. Like, talk to everyone and learn where you're losing people.
Right.
At least if you're talking about like what you do, what you're interested in, like about the care that you're providing, about the value that you're bringing into the world. Because really, any of us that are trying to earn money or run a business do it by providing more value to people than they feel they're paying for. Like, that's how you get better conversion. That's how you get people to come and talk to you. That's how you get people to come into your clinic. That's how you get people to pay for care. It's by presenting a value that is
exceeds the price
they see you're charging for it.
Yeah, that's it.
I
hear that, Hermosi.
A lot of reps.
I hear that, Hermosi, in there.
Well, and it's just true.
It's so true. It's so basic, right? It's so basic. But you're right. The confidence, because you got a patient sitting across from you, and you're talking about the care, and they're like, I don't know if there needs to be a transference of confidence to them, so they have confidence in you, so they say yes. Or your team, you're trying to lead your team. Hey, we're trying to go this way. Well, if you're not selling it to them with confidence, then they're going to go, yay, so it's got to be, it's all of that. So learning how to talk with people and share who you are and share what you do and be passionate about it and have that confidence that you're changing lives. That right there, you're right. I think that's ground zero, man. 100%.
Yeah. And you can get some of that from books, from listening to people who've done it, from learning that, like, you can get some of it vicariously.
Sure.
But then you just, like, that gets you the first couple reps.
Right.
And then you just do as many reps as you possibly can, because the real confidence comes from having done it.
Doing it.
Like, I can have a patient who suffers from migraines and is having one right now and gets them 3 times a week, lasting multiple days, where they basically got a migraine all the time. have them sit across from me crying and go like, I know I can help you because I've done it thousands of times and we do it almost every single time.
All we do is focus on this. Yeah. Yeah. And then you see the person start to have a glimmer of hope in their eyes finally, right?
Yeah.
You've seen that in our eyes if we came up to see you, man. Like personal level, man. I'm so appreciative of you. You know that. Yeah, that's huge. That's so huge. So yeah, Doc, thank you so much for sharing these things. There's a lot of nuggets in here about systemization to scale, practice, growth. Like that is huge. There's so many good things in here. And so thank you so much for sharing your bumps and bruises with us and how you got better.
Some expensive bumps and bruises.
That's it. Learn from our mistakes, right?
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. I love it. Like my goal, like I said, is growing the profession, growing the practice, growing upper cervical, creating demand for it that is just everywhere. And so this fits exactly in with what I do. And I can sit and talk about this stuff all day and dive into the weeds and get into the individual things for one particular case or cover broad scope like we've kind of tried to do today. And I love it.
Cool.
I'm glad, and I'm happy to support you guys. And I know you guys want the same thing and are doing it too, which is brothers in arms.
Yeah, that's right. I love it. Good wrap up, man. That was all you. And those that thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. You're the reason we do this. And go team upper cervical.